Princess Leonor shines in Valdesoto, a day of tradition and royal grace sparkling heart. It began like any ordinary autumn morning in Asturias. The sky soft with mist, the mountains wrapped in silence, and the scent of chestnut trees floating through the air. But what unfolded next, no one expected. The quiet village of Valdesoto would soon find itself at the heart of Spain's royal story. Because this wasn't just another day. It was her day. A day when Princess Leonor, the future Queen of Spain, stepped into the heart of tradition, humility, and grace. Valdesoto had woken early. Farmers stood by stone fences, children clutched small flags, and elderly women in shawls whispered prayers of pride. Word had spread that the Princess of Asturias was coming, not to stand above her people, but to walk among them. And when Leonor's car appeared at the edge of the cobblestone road, the air shifted. Cameras clicked. Bells from the nearby chapel began to ring. But for the people there, what mattered wasn't the cameras, it was the sight of the young princess, radiant in her simple elegance, stepping onto Asturian soil with a soft smile that said everything, "I am one of you." Her outfit was modest, yet captivating, a soft cream coat with delicate embroidery inspired by traditional Asturian patterns. Her hair, gently tied back, revealed a calm, glowing face, mature beyond her years, yet carrying the innocence of a young woman learning her place in history. Every movement was poised, deliberate, yet unforced. She didn't perform royalty, she lived it. As she greeted the mayor and local families, she paused often, listening, truly listening. To an old craftsman explaining his handmade ceramics. To a young schoolgirl offering her wildflowers. To a choir of villagers singing in the local dialect, songs of heritage and home. And in those moments, Leonor wasn't just the Princess of Asturias. She was a daughter of Spain, deeply connected to her people, her culture, and her future. It's easy to forget that just days before, she had stood on the grand stage of the Princess of Asturias Awards, poised, regal, and commanding the attention of global leaders and scholars. But here, in Valdesoto, the tone was different. Here, the stage was the village square. The applause came not from dignitaries, but from farmers, artisans, and grandparents who had lived through generations of Spain's changing story. And yet, the symbolism was powerful. It was as if Leonor was closing the circle, from the grandeur of Oviedo to the humble heart of Asturias. The message was quiet but profound: leadership begins with empathy. As she toured the local exhibition of traditional crafts, Leonor's eyes lit up at the sight of handwoven fabrics dyed with natural pigments. She ran her fingers across the threads, each color telling a story of patience and devotion. An old woman leaned in and whispered, "Our grandmothers made these with love." Leonor smiled and replied softly, "Then I will remember them with love." It was these small exchanges, unscripted, human, that defined the day. Later, she joined a local family for a traditional Asturian meal. Wooden tables, homemade cider, fresh bread, cheese, and fabada asturiana, the dish of the region. There was laughter, curiosity, and even a few moments of shy silence as everyone adjusted to dining with royalty. But Leonor broke the tension with warmth. She asked questions, shared her experiences at the military academy, and even teased one of the children about the number of apples he could eat. The family said afterward, it was like having our own daughter back home. Yet beneath the warmth, there was something deeper happening. Leonor was not only fulfilling royal duty, she was connecting the threads of Spain's past and future. Every handshake, every conversation, every shared smile was a message. Monarchy, when guided by humility, can live and breathe in the heart of ordinary life. At one point, as she stepped outside after the meal, a soft drizzle began. Instead of retreating to her car, Leonor opened a small umbrella and continued walking toward the village chapel. Locals hurried to offer shelter, but she shook her head gently. "I like the rain," she said, "it feels like Asturias." That simple sentence captured the spirit of the day: a royal who doesn't shy from nature, who doesn't hide behind ceremony, who embraces what her people love most. Inside the chapel, she lit a single candle. No press inside. No entourage at her side. Just her and the quiet echo of her own footsteps. Witnesses said she stayed there for a while, deep in thought. Some said she prayed for Spain's unity, others believe she reflected on the weight of the crown she will one day inherit. Whatever she thought, when she stepped out again, her expression carried calm, the calm of someone beginning to understand the immense balance between destiny and duty. The visit continued with her watching a folk dance performance in the square. Dancers in traditional Asturian attire moved in rhythmic harmony, accompanied by the sounds of bagpipes and tambourines. The princess clapped along, her eyes shining. And when one of the dancers invited her to join, there was hesitation, then laughter. She accepted. With graceful but unpolished steps, she danced among them, her laughter mixing with theirs. The crowd erupted in joy. In that moment, the boundary between monarchy and people disappeared. As the day progressed, the village seemed to transform. Children whispered, "She's like us." Elders said, "She reminds me of Queen Letizia when she first came here." And indeed, Leonor's gestures carried echoes of her mother, the same attentiveness, the same empathy, the same quiet strength that wins hearts more than words ever could. Observers couldn't help but compare Leonor's natural connection to Asturias with her father King Felipe's early years. Felipe, too, had learned to understand his role through the people of this land, its honesty, its endurance, its pride. And now, history seemed to repeat itself, not as a mirror, but as a continuation. But there was another layer to the story, one that most cameras didn't capture. Behind the scenes, Leonor's visit was part of her growing preparation as future monarch. Each appearance is carefully chosen, each interaction, a lesson in leadership. Yet Valdesoto didn't feel rehearsed. It felt genuine. Her laughter was real, her humility, effortless, her curiosity, unforced. This was not an act, it was a revelation. As the afternoon sun broke through the clouds, Leonor stopped by a viewpoint overlooking the hills. From there, she could see the green valleys stretching endlessly, dotted with tiny homes and winding roads. A journalist nearby asked what she felt when she looked out. She paused. "It feels like home," she said quietly. "This is where I learn who I am." It was an answer that captured the essence of her visit. Leonor wasn't there to be seen, she was there to see. To see the lives, traditions, and landscapes that shape the soul of Spain. Later, before leaving, she approached a group of young students holding small flags. One of them nervously asked, "Do you like being a princess?" Leonor smiled thoughtfully. "I like serving," she said. "That's what being a princess really means." The child nodded, unsure if she fully understood, but the adults did. Because in that simple answer was a lifetime of wisdom, the understanding that real leadership begins not in privilege, but in service. As her car pulled away and the villagers waved goodbye, a hush lingered. The kind of silence that follows something meaningful, not loud or grand, but lasting. An old man turned to his neighbor and said, "If this is our future queen, we are in good hands." In the weeks following, images from Valdesoto began to circulate online. Not the glossy, posed photos from royal events, but raw, heartfelt moments, Leonor kneeling to speak to a child. Leonor holding a handmade basket. Leonor laughing under the rain. The internet buzzed with admiration. "So real," one user wrote. "So pure. She carries her crown in her heart," another commented. It was more than just admiration, it was recognition. Recognition that Spain's next chapter might be written not with pomp and grandeur, but with empathy and authenticity. The visit to Valdesoto may not have been her most formal royal duty, but it may have been one of her most important. Because it showed the world, and herself, that grace is not in distance, but in presence. That royalty is not measured by titles, but by the ability to connect, to listen, to understand. As the story of the day spread across Spain, commentators reflected on the symbolism. Some said it marked the beginning of Leonor's true public life beyond the academy. Others saw it as a passing of emotional torch, a moment when the air began to embody the spirit of her future reign. But for those who were there, the people of Valdesoto, it was much simpler. It was a day when history touched their village. When a young princess became one of them. When tradition met modern grace, and the line between royalty and humanity disappeared into a shared heartbeat. As night fell over the Asturian hills, the sound of distant bells echoed once again. Somewhere, in a quiet palace room, Princess Leonor may have reflected on the day, on the laughter, the rain, the faces that greeted her with love. And perhaps she smiled, knowing that true royalty isn't in the crown she'll one day wear, but in the hearts she's already won. Because that's the secret the world is beginning to see. Princess Leonor doesn't just represent Spain's future, she embodies it. Graceful, grounded, and human. The kind of leader who makes even the smallest village feel seen, remembered, and loved. And in Valdesoto, under the soft Asturian rain, she proved it. She didn't just visit, she belonged.